Hi, welcome to the Kroll PrescribeIT Training. Today we will look at the 4 main functionalities of PrescribeIT in Kroll. The first is how to fill and process an electronic prescription via PrescribeIT. The second is how to send electronic renewal authorizations and linking doctors to PrescribeIT. The third is how to send clinical communications to PrescribeIT doctors directly from Kroll. And finally, how to manage deferred prescriptions. Chapter 1. Processing prescriptions. First, if you're on the Kroll paperless version, all PrescribeIT prescriptions will be located in the data entry or input queue. Otherwise, they'll be located in your Rx to-do queue. When you click on your queue, a list of prescriptions will appear in the Rx to-do tab. Now we want to be able to identify where each prescription is coming from. So to do this, we've added a to-do origin column which identifies where your prescription is. As you can see, all of these are from PrescribeIT, but they can say things like auto refill, patient's profile, or batch processing. If you do not see the to-do origin column, it can be added by right-clicking on your mouse, clicking on Change Columns, and selecting the to-do origin column in the list that appears. Once selected, you can use the Move Up or Move Down buttons to position the column anywhere on the screen. Then, click on OK. Once you've added your to-do origin column, right-click again and select Make Default Columns to save the screen setup for all users. In your Rx to-do queue, you can select the prescriptions you want to fill by pressing the space bar on your keyboard to highlight them. You can select multiple patients at the same time, and you can select multiple prescriptions at the same time. You can choose to fill in one by one, or you can simply click on Get Work to call up all your prescriptions in your Rx to-do tab. In this queue, it's important to remember that you may see patients that have never been to your pharmacy before. This is because doctors using PrescribeIT can send new patients just as they would send paper prescriptions in the hands of new patients. When you're ready to select a prescription to fill, click on the row you want to process and then click on F to call up the Rx. You will now see 2 new screens. On the left is your external Rx order, which is your PrescribeIT prescription. It contains all the details you need to fill the prescription. The screen on the right will only appear if the prescription is for a new patient. Otherwise, the system will automatically select the patient for you. From the ADT Wizard screen, you can import the patient data directly from the EMR. Kroll may suggest a potential patient match in the patient field. So, let's say you had Genesis McDonald, but in your local Kroll system, you had a full name or a nickname for this person. Kroll will match the data points to reveal potential patients, and you can select them. If it's really a new patient that hasn't ever been to your pharmacy, you can go ahead and click on Search, and then click on Insert at the top of the screen that appears. You'll notice all the data from the EMR has auto-populated the patient form: the last name, the first name, address, phone number, date of birth. Click on Save to save the profile in Kroll, and then click on Select to pull up the profile on the ADT Wizard screen. You'll notice that the incoming patient data matches the patient data that you now selected. Click on Next. On this screen, if the doctor has specified any allergies, they will be displayed one by one. So, if the doctor listed penicillin and codeine, for example, you would see incoming ADT allergy details 1 of 2. The allergies are not automatically added. To add them, click Insert and add in the first allergy, for example, penicillin. And if there was a second allergy, click on Next again to insert the details. Repeat this process for all the allergies and then click on Finish. The drug selection screen appears. The medication and DIN number appear on the left side of the screen. Kroll will use the DIN number to search for existing products in your local database. You can see in this example there is a 100-pack size and 250-pack size. A common question is, how can we determine if this prescription is brand name or no sub? Scroll down the left side of the screen to the Comments section. This is where doctors will indicate whether the prescription is a no substitution or brand name. If you do not see that indicated, you are able to choose the equivalent generics. To choose the equivalent generic, click on the medication. When the new screen appears, press Alt-G on your keyboard to reveal the generic alternatives list. Click on the medication you want to dispense from the list, then click on Select. Then click on Rx, and you'll notice the drug details have been populated on the prescription page. You'll notice that the doctor details have also been updated. The next section to complete is the SIG. Click on Use this SIG code in the left side of the screen. Keep in mind that this is a copy function. Whatever is listed in the SIG section will be used to fill the SIG section of the main fill screen. If needed, you can manually type in additional instructions for the patient in the SIG field of the fill screen. The prescribed, authorized, and days supplied fields are automatically populated. If there were any refills, they would also be automatically added to the authorized amounts. Any additional comments or instructions can be added by clicking on the Comments tab. If the patient has had this prescription at your pharmacy prior to this fill request, click on Copy from Local RX to display all the patient's medication history. Locate the last fill of the prescription being prescribed, select it, and then click on Copy to New. This will deactivate the older profile and keep your files as up-to-date as possible. Once all the data entry is done, close your external RX order by clicking on the X box in the left menu. You'll now notice that most menu options have reappeared, and you can fill this prescription as you normally would in Kroll. Click on Make RX Unfilled if needed, Adapt the prescription, or Print Kroll Care. All these functions are available, and the remainder of the process follows standard Kroll practices. If you need to go back and view the external RX order, click on External RX Order under the View menu. This external RX order will always be attached to your prescription. Keep in mind that this will not automatically appear under your images. It has its own place under View External RX Order. You can configure autoprint for all PrescribeIT prescriptions. The paper prescription will have the details of your external RX order, and if you want to attach it as an image, you can print it out and scan it in. If you need to manually reprint the external RX order, click on RX in the main menu and then click on Print eRx Order. Once you're ready to fill the prescription, click on Unfill RX, go through your DUE checks as normal, and you will be taken back to the main screen once the prescription is done. If you had selected multiple prescriptions, they would appear one at a time until you processed all of them. Chapter 2. Renewal Authorization. The next functionality available in PrescribeIT is the ability to send electronic renewal authorizations, or e-renewals. To send e-renewals, you first have to set up the doctor profile in order to receive them. To set up a new profile, click on the Doctor tab in the top menu and search for the doctor by typing in the last name in the search field. Select the correct doctor from the list that appears. All doctors in your system will have this new ePrescribe button, but this doesn't necessarily mean they are on the PrescribeIT services. Click on ePrescribe, then Add PrescribeIT. A screen appears that allows you to search for your doctor on the PrescribeIT network using the local Kroll information. Click on Search, then click on the doctor that appears in the list. This brings up the location screen that identifies where the doctor practices from. On rare occasions, there will be doctors who can e-prescribe from multiple locations. To add a new location for the doctor, you must first add the office address in their local Kroll profile. Attach the first address to one location, go to your second location, click on ePrescribe, search for the doctor, and then go to your second location. Next, select the address associated with your specific renewal. The screen that appears shows the details of the local Kroll profile and the ePrescribe profile for comparison purposes. If there are any differences between the profiles, for example, if the postal code is missing from the local Kroll profile, a box would appear that you could select to bring in the missing details from the network profile. If there aren't any changes to be made, click on Skip. The confirmation box appears next. This screen shows you the doctor and location details and that they are set up to submit e-renewals and clinical communications. Pharmacy users do not have the authority to deselect the e-renewal or clinical communication boxes. They are managed directly in the PrescribeIT network. Click on the Refresh Permissions button if you want to verify the address assigned to the doctor. Click Save to finish the profile. A PrescribeIT icon now appears in the main address section to show this doctor has been added to the network. Click the Save button in the upper right corner to save the profile in the Kroll system. Click on the Start tab on the main menu to return to the home screen. You are now ready to send renewal authorizations. Click on Recent, then Patient in the menu bar, and select the patient. Click on All RXs in the right side menu. Select the prescription for which you want to send a renewal request. You can select multiple prescriptions. You can right-click on your mouse or click on the Extra Functions button, then select Request Renewal. On the Request Renewal screen, type in the reason for the request. This is what the doctor will see when they receive the request. If sending multiple renewal requests for one patient, you can type different messages below each medication. If you need to change the doctor assigned to the renewal request, for example, if the original prescription was prescribed by a specialist, but the renewal needs to go through the family doctor, click on the Request Renewal From drop-down menu, then click on Select a Doctor. Click on Scan in the upper right corner of the screen that appears and search for the appropriate doctor by typing in the search field. Click on the proper doctor from the list that appears and then click Select. Back on the Request Renewal screen, you can select the Urgent checkbox to flag the request so that it appears as a flashing request in the doctor's EMR. You can send messages with the request as well, but we will address that functionality a little later on. Keep in mind that when you ask for a renewal request, you're not sending a message. Click on Request to send the request to the doctor. Once that screen closes, the renewal request is automatically stored in the callbacks queue. From the home screen, click on Callbacks to see the status of all your renewal requests. Requests show as transmitting until they have been received by the prescriber, at which point the status changes to Waiting for Doc. When you see the Waiting for Doc status, you can be assured that the doctor has received the renewal request and it's in their EMR. Once it's received, the doctor can respond with one of three options. They can approve the request, they can approve the request and make some changes to it, or they can refuse the renewal request. Here's a screenshot showing the different statuses and how they are highlighted in the Kroll callbacks queue. If the doctor approved the request, it is highlighted in green. If the doctor refused the request, it is highlighted in red, and you'll see in the comments section notes from the doctor, if applicable, on why the renewal was refused. If the doctor approved the request, but with changes, the status will say, Doc okayed with changes, with the changes detailed in the comments section. Once a request is approved, it is removed from the current filter. You can then view it either in the Resolved in the last 3 days filter or the Full History filter. All approved requests will automatically appear in the RX to-do queue where they can be filled. If a renewal is refused, the request remains in the callbacks queue unless they are manually deleted. Because the history database can get quite large, you can also go to the patient profile and click on To-Do Items in the right column to see the status of your renewal requests. This makes it a bit easier to identify requests that have been sent back from the doctor for a specific patient. This concludes the renewal request section of PrescribeIT. Chapter 3: Clinical Communications. Next, we'll take a look at clinical communications. Clinical communication is two-way electronic communications between pharmacies and doctors directly from Kroll via PrescribeIT. To initiate clinical communications, you must first ensure the doctor allows clinical communications. To verify this, click on the Doctor tab, then enter the doctor name in the Search tab. Select the appropriate doctor to pull up their profile page. You will notice the PrescribeIT button in the bottom left corner of the address section. If there is an envelope icon with a red line through it, that means this doctor is not yet set up to receive clinical communications. If you click on the PrescribeIT icon, you'll notice that you cannot select the Allow Clinical Communications box. You must first click on the Refresh Permissions button, then click Skip, or sometimes it appears as Update, and the Allow Clinical Communications box should automatically be enabled. If you complete this process and the Allow Clinical Communications box is not automatically enabled, that means the doctor selected is not set up to receive clinical communications. Click Save to return to the doctor profile page, then click Save again to ensure changes are updated in the Kroll profile. Now that the doctor is set up to receive clinical communications, you can access ePrescribe notifications by clicking on F9 Workflow from the main Start screen and then click on ePrescribe Notifications in the right column. This pulls up your ePrescribe inbox, which can contain 3 types of messages. The first is general communication, the second is canceled RX requests, and the third is comm failures. To send a new message, click on New Mail, select the doctor, select the patient, and add in a subject. You can even add attachments from the patient's profile directly from your computer or any medications attached to the patient's profile. Type in your message. You can even flag it as urgent, which will escalate the request when it is sent to the doctor, highlighting it or making it flash in the EMR. Click Send when you're ready to transmit the message. If you want to send it as a draft, click on Cancel, then click on Yes to save the message in the Drafts folder. To access the Drafts folder, click on the Folder drop-down menu at the top of the window and select Drafts. Select the saved message, make any adjustments needed, and then click on Send. Your message has now been sent to the doctor. To view responses, click on the Workflow tab and click on the message you want to review. You will see who the message is from, the patient, and the message. If you have an ongoing thread covering a particular subject, you can click on the Related button to see other messages with the same subject. Click on any message from the list to view the full message. To reply to a message, highlight the message and then click on R at the top of the window. Enter your response, then click Send. There are several other areas where you can generate clinical communication messages. The first is by clicking on ePrescribe notifications in the right column, then clicking on New Mail. The second is in the external RX order window. Click on a prescription from the list. If you notice any errors in the prescription details in the left column, for example, the doctor didn't specify the strength, click on Message at the top of that column, then click on New Mail. The doctor, patient name, and medication details are automatically populated. You do not need to attach the prescription. The medication is automatically referenced, and the doctor already has the RX order. Simply type in your subject and message, and then click Send. You can also send messages right from the patient's profile. Click on Recent in the main menu bar, highlight Patient, then select the appropriate patient name. Click on ePrescribe Messages in the right column, then click on the New Mail button to generate a new message. You can also see all the messages for this patient's name. Click on the Folder menu to filter your search by outbox, sent, or drafts messages if needed. You can also send messages from the doctor profile. Click on the Doctor tab. Search for the doctor. Click on the proper doctor, then click on View ePrescribe Messages in the right column of the profile page. The window that appears will display all messages that have been sent and received with this doctor's name. Again, you can filter by messages outbox, sent, or drafts if needed. You can also generate messages from the callbacks queue. For example, if you are waiting for a doctor to respond to a renewal request, click on the medication order, and then click on the Message button to generate a new mail. Finally, you can also send a message from a prescription that has been received and processed via PrescribeIT. Click on Recent in the main menu bar, then highlight Patient, and select the appropriate patient name. Click on All RXs in the right column, and then select the medication order you are inquiring about. Click on ePrescribe Messages in the right column, then on New Mail to generate a new message. The doctor, patient name, and medication details are automatically populated. Next, we are going to review canceled RX requests. On the ePrescribe Notifications window, you'll see some messages listed as Cancel RX Order. Cancel RX order messages are sent by doctors when they have accidentally sent the wrong medication order or if they want to retract a prescription that was previously sent. If the RX order is still in the RX to-do tab list, the doctor's Cancel RX order request will automatically remove it from the RX to-do queue. You will, however, get a notification of the cancellation from the doctor in the ePrescribe Notifications window. Simply click on the Cancel RX order message to view the reason for the cancellation. Click on View Order to display the full order if needed. Then, click on Acknowledge Doctor's Cancellation of Order. This will automatically send a message back to the doctor to confirm you saw the request. If you already processed the RX order from your to-do queue, but it has not yet left the pharmacy, click on Cancel RX and you will be prompted to cancel the RX order and add comments as to why the cancellation is being done. Click on the order you just canceled, and then click on Acknowledge Doctor's Cancellation of Order to send a confirmation message back to the doctor. If the prescription has already left the pharmacy, click on Cannot Cancel Order, and then click on the Reason drop-down menu. Select the reason the cancellation cannot be completed: fully filled if the patient has picked up the prescription, or order transferred if the prescription has been forwarded to another pharmacy. For either option, you can add additional comments if needed to further explain to the doctor why you cannot cancel the prescription. A third option will only appear if there are refills remaining on the prescription the doctor wishes to cancel. In these instances, click on Patient Already Received RX, Revoke Dispensing Permission, then click Yes to deactivate the prescription canceled by the doctor. Click on Yes in the next window to confirm the deactivation, and generate an automatic message to the doctor to confirm the cancellation. The third type of clinical communication message is a COM failure. COM failures can appear for any number of reasons, but all result from a message not being delivered. Click on the message to see why it wasn't delivered, or please don't hesitate to call the Kroll support line for help troubleshooting the issue. This concludes our demonstration of the Clinical Communication module. Chapter 4. Deferred Prescriptions. PrescribeIT supports the ability to retrieve deferred PrescribeIT prescriptions. When a patient is unsure of which pharmacy to go to, the doctor can authorize a deferred prescription. This is a printed paper prescription that contains a unique barcode that allows any PrescribeIT-enabled pharmacy to pull up the prescription electronically from the PrescribeIT service. The paper prescription will look something like this sample. The section outlined in red is the barcode that can be scanned to retrieve the electronic prescription. To scan the barcode, pull up the patient's profile. Click on Patient in the main menu bar, then click on Retrieve PrescribeIT Order. Enter in the barcode either using a handheld scanner or by typing in the code manually, then click on Retrieve RX Order. The Kroll RX Fill window will automatically appear, populated with the order details. Pharmacies that are not enabled on PrescribeIT will need to process the deferred prescription manually, just as they would any other paper prescription. By retrieving the deferred PrescribeIT prescription, you can import the data in the same manner you would any other electronic prescription. This concludes the PrescribeIT training. Please refer to the user guide on the Kroll website or call the Kroll support line.